There's the meat on the stick. I'll
Yep.
let you do the talking.
Yep. I should know how to do this because I've worked with Violin Utonic for so long. Why am I so nervous? I feel like it's hot in
Just
here, isn't it?
order a number two.
Would you? Okay, can we just get? Can you give me the fight stick? I'll do it myself.
No, I'm not. No, absolutely not. I
Well
got
then,
this.
figure it out. Pull your big girl pants up and let's go.
Barton, are you staying with us for this? I mean, I suppose it's fine as long as everything goes okay with it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't really have access to anything. If your girlfriend didn't make us cards, I can't. I'm just gonna be wandering around. We don't even have
okay.
communication, so we didn't bring radios or a fancy wristwatch or nothing. So
There's a young girl. She can't be more than 18. She hates this job a lot. And she's kind of like leaning and she's looking at her fingernails and chewing on some kind of bubble gum. And she looks up at you and cuts her eyes. Welcome to Meat on a Stick. How can I help you?
Number two, please.
You want the double greasy, double meat stick?
Did I set her? I want a number two.
Okay. Ugh. From the back, you hear a gruff voice of a man. Hey! What's taking you so long? I'm working. There's like customers. They ordered a number two. What? Nobody ever orders a number two. Say, Stacy, go on break. He puts out a closed sign and clicks off the light above, and he kind of gestures for you to come to the back. All right, let's see it.
You first.
He puts his hand on the back wall, and as he presses, a fake or like faux door opens up into another space, and inside you see piles of stuff you've never seen before. Why don't you come into my real store? You know, I wasn't expecting you till tomorrow. You can't just show up unannounced.
I can do whatever I want. And we're here for the goods that we were requiring, and we have your payment for it. Is there a problem with you getting paid early?
It's all right, fine. He reaches behind a pile of stuff and pulls out a bowling bag, and he puts it down gently on the counter.
Open it.
The zipper opens, and he kind of peels it back, and inside you can see there is a black box, a few cassettes and like other things, as well as a file. Now let's see the money, honey.
Cool your jets. Here you go.
He kind of snatches the cred stick, plugs it into a computer that's like mounted on the wall back here, clicks through and runs it. He smiles and turns around, moves his cigar from his mouth for the first time, and he says, "It is a pleasure doing business with you."
hey, guys, I don't wanna alarm you or anything like this, but I know it's me and I'm a little. I got some ideas and some thoughts here, but so that's not actually Kitchens' face, right? That's a Kitchens. That's a David.
Right.
That's not. So what that means is that's not like a security cam picture of Kitchens. That's a David model, which they were all shut down.
Right.
So, and they were all shut down like a long, long time ago. So the only people that would know that Kitchens is a David model would be us, Wayland Utani, or an actual David model, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Also, there's no Desta, so there was not a shootout, which is unfortunate. That would have been a cool story. So something knows that Kitchens is a David, and that's a bigger problem than a shootout. Hey, Bryn, you did some questionable shit in your past for Wayland Utani, right?
Mm-hmm. Pop kettle.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I was, whatever. Do you know about Mr. Michael Bishop and Doctor of Science?
Yeah, I met a bishop, one of the units that they had on there, one of the plant side when we picked up the cargo that then foreseeably changed my entire life. Yeah, that one.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. Was Kitchens with you when you met the Bishop model?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, so
they had like a whole conversation. I didn't want to butt in because I was busy, but they
put
buddy it up.
Put your bifocals on. If you look at the bottom of the wanted poster, it says bring directly to Michael Bishop. So either there's a Bishop model robot pretending to be Mr. Bishop himself, or a very old Michael Bishop is here, which means something for me because I'm old as shit. Either way, that sounds like a trouble that we need to figure out.
I agree. That definitely complicates things. So what's your...
It's been 2 days. You've beaten me in every rock, paper, scissors game
We have played. I am astonished. But if I heard that girl right, there are agents here. Kitchens, you know where to look. You have it. The Shakespeare's place, right? Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Good. Did you find his body? Kitchens?
No, we didn't find his body. There were no bodies on premises.
You're going to need to find him.
Would you care to elaborate?
It's... I kind of put a finger just below your sternum where I found it before. Shakespeare thought it would have been a good place to hide it. Are you ready to leave?
I suppose. I don't think we're going to have much of an option if they are actually Weyland-Yutani agents.
I will give you an option. And Desta exits, and he is going to take his gun and fire it in the air and start running far off, like further into the station.
And we see the camera eventually stop. Desta can only run so much, and there are a lot of Colonial Marines on board this when you finally get the horde running. And sooner or later, they catch on to your round robin act, and they head you off, flanking you from both sides. Guns, many of them pointed at you. It says, "Don't shoot! I want to see him." And as they part to let it through, you see a man I don't think you've ever seen before. "I am Michael Bishop. Come with me." Not like you have much of a choice.
Desta will look across at Bishop and all the Marines. He'll aim directly at Bishop.
There's a moment as you go to squeeze that trigger, you question whether this was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the shot fires off, and it pings through Michael Bishop's shoulder. We don't see white ichor spray, as you might expect from a Bishop unit, because this is not a Bishop unit. This man is human. And blood splatters across the faces of the Marines that stand around. And you hear as Michael Bishop goes down, he screams, "No, don't kill him. He's all the leverage we've got." And the Colonial Marines jump you. The men start beating you, pounding you, but it doesn't stop.
Desta just closes his eyes, and we see for a moment a flashback to a much, much younger Desta, who for the first time executed a move that had only been done in training when being grappled by 3 people at once. And we see that younger Desta basically like use one person to knock it to the other person, flips the third person over, and the younger Desta is there and kind of grabs a gun and is aiming it out at some enemy in the flashback. But then as we flash forward, it's Desta holding it to himself with a smile. And he says, "You won't get what I have." And he pulls the trigger.
Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for Alien Episode 4. This one is called Track Number 3. A little number play there. But we're back. You saw the recap. If you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is on Patreon. A link for that down below. $5 will get you all the access to all of our after shows for every single show we've done for the past several years. And then more from there. And while you're down there, click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves 2 purposes. 1 is when that bar fills, Dot does terrible, terrible things to us. And 2, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces that you see here before you. So if you want to support the cast, that's the best way to do that. That being said, Dot, please try to kill us in space.
I think it's only apropos that we start exactly where we left off. The black and white fluttering of a screen. Unclear, kind of blurry, and we see Kitchens staring intently at the monitor, trying to make out exactly what is going on.
What is going on?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yep, that's your line.
Shakespeare, we see kind of an explosion, maybe gas tossed into the main room of the vessel you now tow. Fluttering of lights, and as the gas settles, we see Shakespeare's been hit, or at least the man we'd believe to be Shakespeare. He wears only a fur robe. Like it's kind of like it's got big fur collar. It's a bit extravagant. For those of you in the Discord, I have posted my inspirational photos of Shakespeare for you. He's definitely based on Tanis from Underworld and a mixture of Mr. Universe from Serenity. So have fun. And he's kind of I wouldn't say emaciated, but he's a thin man. You don't know if that's drugs or that's just lack of food, but he definitely doesn't lack women. 2, in fact. 1 is shot down dead by the time the smoke clears. You can see her body. The other one, in a panic, mostly nothing but heels on, grabs a bleeding Shakespeare who holds his side and drags him into a pod. Kind of hidden door. And you see it launches. The light changes just as soldiers burst into the room. They scour the place. They break things. They look for stuff. They didn't find what they were looking for. This is an older security footage, probably meant to not be read by mothers, so it's not, there's no sound. You watch in silence. There's an argument amongst whoever is in charge here. He wears a suit and not colonial marine armor. He pushes one guy. There's an argument. He orders them to go do something. A little bit of time passes. You might even have to fast forward the tape, as they used to say.
Sure.
And when you do, you see that the woman's body is matched with another. They bring in another female you don't know from where. She has been shot. Made to look similar. Lack of clothing, messed up hair, and a man's body. Based on the boots that he's wearing, he was probably one of their own colonial marines. Shot probably at point blank range. And you watch as they torch the inside of this place and the bodies burn up. Exactly where you found the 3 bodies the first time. Now, after 2 years, you've run information data. Based on the DNA that you found under the bed, not on the bed, under the bed, you know that those bodies did not match Shakespeare's. At least not the DNA that was being kept. So you were right when you told Desta you did not find Shakespeare's body. And maybe you watch it again and again. This woman, as she hurriedly, in a panic, drags him out, bleeding. The light clicks, and they're gone.
Can I search for any extraction coordinates for vessels leaving on that date?
Oh, interesting. You want to try to run. Yeah, so you know that, like, you've run over to the computer box, right? Another one that you've taken because he had tons of them, right? And you've tried to spend all this time going through them. It's a daunting process. But you go back to what would have been maybe the last one with recorded data, whatever server was holding whatever information for that day. And you look for coordinates. I'm going to have you roll a comm check.
Sure. Comtech. I'm trying to see if I might have anything else here. Yeah, okay, Comtech. Got it.
Maybe it didn't occur to you for quite a while that they could have covered things up, that Shakespeare could have escaped and not died. And so you go to the last piece of information versus the old information you've been scouring through. What did we
3
roll?
successes.
3 successes is plenty. Yeah. What a brilliant idea. And you begin running the data to find the last kind of pieces of data that came through. What you acquire is not a set of coordinates, but an activation of a beacon signal. This is just a launch pod, which means that it really has no capability of navigating anywhere. It has to be picked up.
Okay.
What you do get is we'll call it the IP address, or you lock on to the ship that does pick up the distress signal. You'll have to run some more information to see if you can locate the vessel, figure out where it's been, but the drop pod was picked up.
Am I able to simulate this distress signal? Am I able to replicate a beacon call?
I would say so. There would be a couple ways you could do that. You know that it started a beacon signal, though you don't know what it is, but you could run the drop pod itself, because, again, these things are kind of manufactured now, right? So you're going to end up you would know that this pod would put out this kind of distress signal.
Right.
So you could potentially try to replicate it, absolutely. Using the same pattern or address or code or whatever.
Okay. If I were to backtrack, actually leaving the computer at this point and backtrack to where I had seen them moving down the corridors to this vessel. I'm not really sure what I might be able to find here. Was there a second pod?
Over your time of 2 years, you have not found a second pod. You definitely found the hidden door, because it was left. It wasn't left ajar, but it was left revealed. The door itself, right? Because that's what was hidden. So you did find that, though you didn't probably think much of it. This seems to be the only pod that you found on this, which means either he had more people here that were killed and they placed it to look like he was killed, or they killed their own people to make it look like Shakespeare was killed. They were trying to set the scene in some way.
Right. Okay, then I would like to. Who else? Is everyone here? Everyone is here on vessel.
Everybody is on board the vessel.
Okay. I would like to share my findings. How late are we looking at right now? Is everybody asleep? Everybody kind of like in personal quarters, relaxing? What does this look like?
That's a really good question. Why doesn't our camera pan over to our dear Vince? Vince, what are you up to?
Vince is laying down if this is the Monstro, right? That we are in, laying down in his old bed that he used to stay on in this ship. And as he's laying down, he has a tennis ball and is like throwing it up while he's laying down in bed and catching it. And he's listening to this mixtape that he just got from the station, from the junk guy.
The one you purchased, the one you were given?
Oh. I thought I was just given one.
Oh, you didn't purchase. Oh, that's right. You got that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So we see this kind of old tech. This is not something that you're used to, right? But it doesn't take a brain surgeon to find out that, the circle fits in the circle. And you kind of pop this strange tape in and close it down. You can see it uses some kind of ribbon on the inside that's spooled.
Yeah.
You put on what I imagine are like Walkman headphones. Like these are like, this is ancient technology, y'all. It's been hundreds of years since this was used. Okay. The link from now, longer than it was to our Civil War, the American Civil War. Like that's how long it's been. Right. And this ancient technology sits on your ears along with the ancient music that you're about to listen to.
I had some thoughts actually of, as a player, what I would like this to be. Hits of the 2000s, including Grenade by Bruno Mars, 9 in the Afternoon by Panic at the Disco.
Wait, are you making this mixtape for her? Because she made you one with songs already on it.
If I could, take, maybe this mixtape is super long. If I could make a mixtape of select hits from the 2000s, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So she made you one called, well, you don't know if she found it or she put it together, but it seems to be her handwriting. So maybe she figured out how to use this ancient technology from the archives to dig up ancient music.
Sure.
So we'll say the front side of this cassette, though we know 7 songs don't fit on the front side of the cassette.
Yeah.
In this world they do. It says Summer Jams 91. It seems that maybe she has collected her favorite songs from the 90s, the early 90s for you. When you play through the front side of the tape, side A, first up is the 90s song that you've never heard, but we all know to be the jam, which is Hold On by Wilson Phillips.
Yeah.
You hear this girl group, Hold On, for one more day. It keeps saying over and over. It's rather inspirational, actually. And
Vince is timing his tennis ball throws to beat with the music.
What a fucking song to pick out.
It's the first one. I mean, come on. Is there more 90? Actually, there are more 90s songs because I got a whole fucking list here. Next
prepared.
up is a song called Losing My Religion by a strange band called REM.
Mm-hmm.
But she told you something very special when she handed it to you.
Yeah.
That track number 3 made her think of you. That it was something that she put on special for you.
Yeah.
Third up,
Mm-hmm.
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Ah.
Bit of a banger in comparison. Little wailer. Maybe we see you change the pace of the tennis ball. Who knows? Maybe you're headbanging before it's over.
I get up and start headbanging like I've seen in the animes that we used to watch with Kitchens. Yeah.
Next up is a change of pace, a story for a song called Under the Bridge by a strange band called the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Hmm.
And between each of these songs, you get to hear her voice. A little blurb that she recorded. It's like, I found this song because of this. I found this song because of this. This strange classical band of the 1990s is called
Classical band.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Then another bop.
Mm-hmm.
Something called Summertime by a Will Smith.
Huh. That definitely slaps. Yeah.
That it slaps. You don't know what a summer is, not really. Seasons come and go on space stations in space, but something about summertime is the bop.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I hope that Vince just can't keep his feet still for, which is You Can't Touch This.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah.
And then to close out side A of the mixtape she made for you is Blaze of Glory by Yvonne Bon Jovi. He must be a really regal fellow. He seems very you know, he's got that name.
Yeah, Bon Jovi. I mean, come on. This is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And the tape eventually, as you're kind of listening, comes to that click stop. And the player automatically rewinds, right, rolls the tape. There you go. Her playlist for you. Yeah, I think Mike is dying.
Vince, at this point, you know, he slowly pulls the Walkmans off and he's sweating, wipes his brow, and just as he's about to think about what all of those songs mean together and alone, I guess maybe at this point we hear Kitchens asking us to come check something out, probably.
Yeah, did you call them or were you going to go find them?
I was gonna find them, but now I just got to comment on how soft she is. Like I was expecting some like straight out of Compton, like something. And
No, she went through whatever archives they had of 90s music that remains from the classical era of the 1990s, and this is what she pulled out of the great library of Alexandria in space.
Oh, I love
Wowzers. Yeah, I'd probably, you know, just for the sake of the experience, it's easier to just have Geppetto locate.
I mean, you do have a comm system. You could always call directed to his room if you wanted to.
Well, I mean, he's a growing boy, and as
A
interesting
young
as it
man.
would be to write down, you know, and record information for studies, he doesn't want to step in on that private time. So last time he bossed in there was a number of Kleenexes that were unexplained.
Yeah.
He had no sniffles.
Yeah.
So it was rather
as an
unexplainable.
AI, you can't imagine what that is for. All right. Well, then you do. Like, just as the music clicks off and you wipe your brow of the dancing sweat, there's you hear that click of the comms, and it actually is a little muffled before you pull these Walkman headphones off very gently. This antique item.
Yeah.
And you hear Kitchens. I imagine you call him down.
Yeah, I phone him, basically saying everything. I've discovered some new findings. You may want to come this way.
Cool. I'll be there soon.
And I imagine we see a plan for side B of this tape?
Oh yeah.
Maybe a list. You've had a lot of time to watch anime and listen to music and have access to things that the average person right now just doesn't. What might the list be shaping up to look like for our 2000s jams?
Oh, I was gonna say, so Grenade by Bruno Mars definitely has to be on there. There's a few, just like 4 notable ones, and then some anime on there. Death Note that makes an appearance. Not really, like Vince will leave a note saying like, this doesn't make me like, this is just a good show, don't try to like intuit anything. I'm not
romantic.
Yeah, how romantic. But yeah, like Grenade by Bruno Mars, maybe Just for Now by Imogen Heap, you know, Little Less or No More indie kind of song.
Little deep lean.
And then a real, like, you know, sentimental Come Away With Me by Norah Jones. And ending with a little, you know, party tune, 9 in the afternoon, Panic at the Disco going on. So that's the vibe of it. It's just like he's finding all these like really sappy and like, you know,
but she's not supposed to read into it.
Vulnerable songs, but she's not supposed to read into it.
Yeah.
And then just throwing in like, oh, I need something that's more party and hype, like Hammer Time was, or something like that, like 9 in the afternoon. I don't know.
That's so perfect.
That's the plan.
You can't touch this on there. You should put Hammer Time. Be like, oh,
Yes.
look, we love the same classical artist.
Yes, I do. But yeah, I head over to Kitchens, and maybe I try to grab Rin or Barden on the way if it would be on the way.
Question: Do you also leave her a track number 3?
Come Away With Me is track number 3.
And we see like your list kind of get set down next to this what's left of like a Walkman type situation, and their track number 3 is written Come Away With Me, and very different than Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's cool. And
I felt like she had the grounds covered, the bases covered, so I went the other way.
Right. And so in the background, if this was a movie, we might hear Hold On playing, watching these poor humans in space that have no idea what is really out there to get them. But the camera will actually cut to Barden or Ren. What are you up to? There's been, since you got back on board, because you needed to lay low since they're like searching for you, I would imagine there's been 30 minutes to an hour that has passed while Kitchens has like scrubbed back through this footage.
All I can picture in my head is the first episode of season 1 of Umbrella Academy when it does the cross section of the house, but it's a cross section of the ship, and everyone's dancing.
Like, hold up for one more day.
Like Vince didn't know that the music's playing through all of the fucking station.
That would be great.
Oh, and each time we hear Ace's voice come on.
Yeah.
No. It's, but
can that be the first corruption part? Is that the music played to the whole ship? Doesn't have to be. That's a funny
Is that an
idea.
ask? Because I will.
It is.
Make that.
It is
okay.
100%.
If that is an ask, I will absolutely use today's corruption bar.
Heck
we'll
yes.
say, here's what actually happens.
Okay.
This unit, right, Geppetto on board is it's broken. It doesn't function like Mother functions. When Geppetto finds out that you are listening to music, because Barden and Kitchens, I imagine if they ever share music or anime, it was played openly over the last 2 years aboard this ship. It was something they shared. So the computer algorithm says, well, if music is being played, I need to tap it into the system. And somewhere around the end of Smells Like Teen Spirit, when her voice comes in and says, I put that song in there because it reminds me of you, it starts piping through the main comms. That means Kitchens, while you're doing your research, you begin to hear what's Under the Bridge playing, is the next song on the list. And the other of you do as well. And the camera will actually cut to Rin and Barden, together or separate, doesn't matter. But you're beginning to hear classical 1990s music playing through the intercom.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's got to be Barden, right? Because there's no way that that Vince would be playing this. I don't even think he's aware of this. So
the classics are playing again. It's my favorite. I used to back in my day. This song here. Fucking
Summertime by Will Smith starts playing. back in my day.
Getting jiggy with it. No. Yeah, that's what I used to say to all the ladies. We'll get jiggy. We'll get jiggy with it over there. Barden is absolutely, he's off mission, right? And still not used to the fact that the authority has returned to the ship. He's back in his quarters. It was a sweaty mission. He was in a suit. It was stuffy. He's back to shirt cocking it, as they say. And now a bunch of music is playing. So he's getting jiggy with it. He's dancing. Oh yeah, he is. Footloose and fancy free.
Because this is a family friendly show.
No, it isn't.
Mike.
No, it isn't.
The camera pans in, and all we see is the table, like in the middle of Barden's space, blocking just the important parts.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
We need to be safe from that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. The table, as chat pointed out, Dick Swaggin,
Yeah.
is covered by the table, but we do see this kind of old man undulation.
Amorphous, jiggly.
Yeah.
Frantic waving.
Everybody.
His
Yeah,
true form.
Yeah.
Yes, in his truest form, as the music kind of plays through, and a few songs will pass. I love that Barden doesn't do anything but take a quick, imagine a shower for sweaty, and then begins the shirt cocking again. As Blake
He was fresh out of the shower, put the shirt on, and then he was like, "Oh, okay."
So you literally spend the next 20 minutes, while everybody else is working or having touching moments being publicly displayed, swinging your cock around your suite by yourself. So
have you seen the show, Dot? That's mostly what Barden does anyway.
And the camera pans through the wall. Again, always catching Barden where it covers the important parts with furniture or beakers or a computer tablet. It's always just the camera angle just perfectly blocks it.
Picture the old the rooster that's the undulating thing with the rooster comes up and dabs in the water. He's just thrusting and the chicken's head is coming up and back
up
down.
And down. Yes, that is this scene as we get a moment of comedy over what is meant to be a very personal playlist. The camera pans and time rewinds just a tad as we feel. I gotta know what Ren is doing next door to this, unknowing.
Oh, well, she has no idea what Barden does, nor does she ever want to know. She avoids that area of the ship anytime she's here. Actually, Rin, after finally having gone on a somewhat dangerous mission for the first time in a while, because she's been kind of playing it safe where she could with Vince, she's got the bag of ancient relics essentially after he took the tape cassette part out, and she is documenting and inventorying everything inside the bag.
Nice. Okay.
She's like, this was a big deal. We took something from Wayland Yutani. Let's get at it, So she's on mission now.
You do find a black box. You know that's going to need to be plugged in to go through what's left on it, but there is a black box. You find a journal. The binding is, and it's paper. The binding is bent and torn with age. You can tell it was used a lot. There's pieces kind of stuck into it, stuff stapled or pinned to it. This is a working notebook. And in a quick flip, if you do flip through it, it does, by the drawings, by the notes, it seems that at some point, Amanda Ripley has come in contact with the Space Beast. And did it for years. You can tell that some of the last entries are, she talks about returning to Earth again in her old age, that she's ready to settle because she believes they have completed their mission. And you'll have to read a little bit more to kind of understand that. But she does return to Earth. She talks about loving a man and wanting to get married, which is what eventually happens. Based on the date ranges, you can tell when she went into cryosleep and when she didn't. Her death certificate, which is in this box in a file folder for her, along with some medical records and other things, says that she died at 66 due to cancer. based on her travels, she's much older than that. Cryosleep, changes. She may look 66, her body may be 66, but the years in which she traveled and went to space and searched for the space beast was much, much longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, you find this kind of file folder that has some personal logs, some medical records. You find a patch, like a jacket patch. And, of course, there are a few cassettes in here where she clearly did some recording herself, but you let Vince borrow the cassette player for the afternoon. Which, funny enough, as you kind of lay these cassettes out, she's labeled them only by number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Music begins piping through all of the speakers overhead. Vince, of course, headphones still on. You have no idea. You listen to some strange things as they come through. Rather distracting, but maybe it doesn't bother you too much. Who knows? Maybe this is just par for the course now, since you left these two alone in space for 2 years. But as soon as that clicks off and we all hear Ace's voice go, I hope you like my mixtape. I made it just for you. Maybe you can make me one? As it begins to rewind. Kitchens comes over a comm, calls Vince. Vince, none the wiser, leaving behind his new list with his own track number 3. You hear a knock. Who do you go to first? Rin or Barden?
Rin.
You hear a knock on your door, Rin. You've spent almost an hour kind of going through what was in here.
Oh, there's the lover boy. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good. I was gonna ask you the same thing. Well, there's
a lot of interesting information here, that's for sure. Are you done with that doohickey with the?
Oh yeah, and I hand her the.
Okay, because
tape,
she's got like a whole bunch of them here.
The player.
I imagine she was maybe doing what I'm doing over here, which is recording of the things, but hers is, I'm sure, much more interesting.
What?
Oh, the bag of all the things that we took from Waylon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she has it like spread out like in complete like perfect categorization by like type of thing, like just like very methodical, almost like if there were parts of a gun laid out like you've seen her do before, but with like evidence. She's being very detective like, which is weird for you to see her with anything but weapons in this way. So yeah, there's a lot. This is important. This is probably the most important thing that we have gotten before Waylon's gotten their hands on it.
You laid this out like it's a weapon.
That's because it is. There are weapons of all kinds. I know I haven't taught you that much about it, but your mind and your knowledge is weapons too.
Makes sense. Yeah, knowledge is power, from what I heard.
That sounds cheesy as hell, but yeah, I guess that's true.
It was from an anime.
Next door, Barden is still.
Kitchens is asking us to, go. I think we should talk about this stuff that we recovered, and maybe also talk about, Desta. I do wonder how Kitchens is doing,
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, let's do that. And then are you feeling pretty good about I wasn't only half listening, but those songs seemed really interesting.
What do you mean?
But never mind. No, never mind. Barden, get your pants on.
All right. What do you mean? How do you know I don't have pants on?
Oh,
I always assume you don't.
I go to your door.
Hold on. I had like half pants on. Let me get the other side on. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right.
I don't know why I tried looking through the window.
Okay, we're good. We're good. It's a suit. The whole thing is shirt and pants is combined into one thing. So if I get, I don't have to explain myself to you, kid. Listen, sometimes you get hot down there and you gotta take it all off. You gotta take a shower. It's a whole thing. Anyway, you need more suggestions for your tunes? I got a couple. I got a couple of old bangers, as we used to call them.
Let me hear them, Barden. What?
Well, I don't have it right now. I have a list. I can make you a list.
I would love a list.
Okay, who's it for? Is it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, it's for you. All right. what I need you to do is
You're gonna
find.
make me a mixtape.
No, I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you a list. So you start with, take it slow.
You're making me a mixtape.
Take it slow. I need you to look up the song Uchiwali by a man named Nas. Look him up. He's a great a poet of his time. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I used to me and Marilyn. That was a good good song.
Please don't
there.
start.
I was just saying, it would be a good song if you do what you will with that information.
God, no yoga. Okay, Kitchens needs us. We're gonna talk about your favorite thing now over space rocks.
Aliens.
Exactly.
Great.
I know.
Let me get this. Hold on. And he just grabs like a pack of random shit and he slings it over his shoulder. Let's go. I'm ready.
Did you bring the bowling bag full of stuff, Rin?
Yeah.
You bags. The three of you walk maybe a smidge awkwardly as Vince is trying to figure out how they knew about the music.
Yeah.
How did they know? You don't know, but
Well,
eventually
Rin,
you make it to the other end of this the other end of the ship, this freighter, to the science chem kitchens lab, and there's Kitchens, sure enough.
We're all
come
here.
in.
Hey, buddy, what do you got? Vince said you got aliens. Stuff about aliens.
And Ren also has some stuff too.
Yeah. We stole it.
Yeah,
All ears.
I thought we purchased it with the grid stick.
we did.
It was fake money, real
Remember
money.
the whole plan,
Yeah.
Barden?
It was real
I didn't
hard.
know
We're
that
there.
part of the plan, that it was fake.
Well, it's
I don't
good that you
remember.
didn't. You probably would have messed it up.
Excuse me.
It went so smooth. It was my best operation to date in
I
most
know.
recent history.
You were so good.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too. You back me up real good.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was there too.
So what do we want to?
First,
And then
I would
I
like
look
to
at
hit
Kitchens.
a question. Barden, I
Yeah,
I
buddy.
feel like your musical tastes have changed greatly since we last listened.
What do you mean?
Were you communicating a message? Was there something there that you wish to explain to me? Also, this woman's voice sounded uncannily like Ace's voice.
How do you guys?
Well,
I
wasn't
was-
me. I didn't play any music.
I was
I was a
listening.
kid.
She made me a mixtape. I was listening to that in my room alone with the Walkmans.
Oh,
I
That was-
think that was as solo as you had believed. I think it's
small invasion of privacy. I wish I could say that I was sorry authentically, but I'm
You were
not.
spying on my room.
No, it's a thing that Geppetto does. Yeah, any recordings are played through the entirety of the ship. So
Something about landing upon Shakespeare's vessel. It was
god!
shortly after we found all of the instruments, and I don't know why, but it now will attach itself to frequency and play music.
Yeah. So you're
We
saying
discovered-
the whole ship heard that?
yeah, now I will
Most
warn
certainly.
you ahead of time.
Oh,
God
God.
forbid you play any personal videos. That also gets put on all the displays
It's true.
throughout the ship.
It's true. Every
yeah,
screen.
He liked to look at art in Rome, I would say.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, if you're attempting to record your own videos, that also is publicly shown.
Yeah. Learn
Got
that the
it.
hard way.
Good to know. Okay, can we just maybe not
Oh,
talk
I wonder
about that?
I wonder how Jake feels about this. Being that
sure.
he sort of raised you of sorts, it's like coming of age tale.
I mean,
How do you
if-
feel right now? Please, can you describe in great effect? I must know.
a little embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
But
Not what I was anticipating.
what were you anticipating?
Well, if it's anything at all like Barden, I was anticipating a significant amount of arousal.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
no.
The notes of embarrassment for sharing what most people would consider personal is strange to you. It doesn't match the rest of the data you've collected on Barden over the last 2 years.
Ren, would this be embarrassing for you?
I would have to say that given as they haven't been official and made, boyfriend, girlfriend, there might be some kind of
Even
slight
if we were, that's
discomfort to Violations of privacy.
Why don't we just let's talk about kitchens. You called us in. What's going on?
Oh,
Hey.
of course.
Yeah.
I have discovered some things. It's many things actually. I'm going to have to study you later, Vince. You understand this?
I didn't realize you stopped.
I did. I was briefly taken off of a private course onto something a bit more time sensitive, I believe. Only for my own interest. I don't think it's as I'm sensitive for anyone else. You see, Shakespeare. We thought he was dead. We think he's dead. He might be dead.
He is dead.
Is he? Is Shakespeare dead?
I mean, we.
Is this like a philosophical question where we talk about whether somebody has left a legacy behind? And in which
we're
case,
like
are they really
maintaining
dead
his
or have they carried on?
Well,
intelligence network.
Given the information that we know of Shakespeare and the fact that he has something fatal to most of humanity resting inside of him, and how we believe that he had died. That he had died.
You mean a bullet? What do you mean? What?
No. Desta removed the embryo from my body and gave it
what?
To Shakespeare.
Embryo of what?
To destroy?
Wait. You mean are you trying to tell me that Shakespeare was also a synthetic?
No. Wow, this is incredibly difficult to explain. I was simply just a bag of sorts. I was an objective, a goal to emanate. And apparently, it had been explained to me that I had attempted to kill Desta or maim him in such a fashion that I could begin emanation.
When?
Apparently within hours of meeting Desta. But he was able to defend himself. Spry, in his age, he was able to defend against me. And, well, without all the technical terms, he more or less turned me off and back on again.
How did he manage to keep you from? I mean, that's it takes quite a bit of effort, don't it?
I actually don't know. I don't know entirely. I apparently said it was so fast, and my immediate memory trails from moments after meeting him. But apparently that was the second time I'd met him. Now there are some things that seem to be inherently locked in my memory, especially after reading about it. It brought back flashes. Like the first time I'd met the David model, the original.
Mm-hmm.
Back on what was it called? The Covenant? Was that it?
The failed lifeboat? Yeah, that one.
Yes. And I wasn't the only one, right? We know that now, that I was not the only model.
Right.
Well, Desta had found the embryo inside of my body, and he pitched this, from my understanding, directly over to Shakespeare, thus bringing about a private study of Space Beast. You remember the field lab that we found
under his bed?
Yes. I don't know if he still had it on his person or if he was simply testing it, but we didn't find it there.
Well, if he had gotten his hands on it early on, is it possible he could have growed it?
You could have what?
Growed it.
Growed it.
Yeah. Like.
Grow it. It's a grow it.
Yeah.
Growed it. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Grow is a different thing. Grew it.
Stop it. You're confusing me. Just growed it. Like.
I'm not entirely certain, but I do think he survived. there was an attack. Let me just play this footage back for you. And I'll play it back.
It plays again through this kind of blurry screen as you watch the same incident. Bullet shots, very naked woman, drags Shakespeare out, one body left. He kind of fast forwards 10, 15 minutes. 2 new bodies are brought in and laid there, thrown nonchalantly, tried to maybe look like they're part of the scene. And then it's lit on fire. I'm going to have everybody together. Each can roll an observation now that you're watching it together.
Are we still stressed at all since the last time? Since our last
yes,
session?
because none of you have done anything to reduce your stress.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
Actually, I would let you take a level because you listen to your playlist.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, go ahead and roll for an observation.
Womp womp.
X. Great. Vince. Kitchens, would you like to roll an observation? Oh, you're muted. Okay, a single success. There's something about the scene with the soldiers, the kind of tussle, the argument, that maybe Kitchens rewinds and plays again. There's something about the scene, you can't quite place it. After it plays back a few times, it is Axe and Vincent. Your eye keeps pinging on the man in charge. And Kitchens pauses it at just the right moment, and the both of you, from a profile view, realize that that person is Bishop. Is it a model? You don't know. Is it the one you met on board the last station? You don't know.
What would because I know Desta would have known. I mean, obviously in his last moments, Desta knew of Bishop, but also in his first moments in this campaign back on Fiornia, I believe, Bishop was there. But I'm not sure how much Vince would necessarily know.
You would only maybe know him if you spotted... Oh, well, Vince, you weren't even there, so Vince, you might not know him.
Bryn would, though.
In the last episode, the wanted poster was said "bring directly to," and
maybe that.
And
But you didn't see his face.
Barden explained to everyone who Bishop was.
So you at least would know of him. So you may not recognize his face. Maybe again, it's that like, who is this man? He seems important. And maybe when Vince points, Ren, Barden, Kitchens, you all recognize him.
Got it.
That's Bishop.
That's right.
Curious, can I use analysis after realizing now that this is Bishop? Can I utilize the analysis talent?
Yeah, sure. What's it do?
For after I roll, for every success that I hit in a roll, I am allowed to ask questions, and those questions can yield varying results.
Okay, yeah, sure. So you got a single success on that observation. If you would like to roll, or you'd like to ask a question, go for it.
Oh boy. Let's see here. I've got 2 in mind.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go with the one right out of the book, just because it makes it leads. It's gonna lead into a strange
another
place.
Answer. Yeah.
It's the final question is what problems could this cause?
What problems could this cause? When you say what, do you mean Bishop's presence or their cover-up? Bishop's presence.
Yes.
What problems could this cause? Well, knowing what you know about Bishop, he does not work for Weyland-Yutani.
Right.
He has always worked for the United Americas, which means that the United Americas was probably underplaying the importance of finding what they were finding. His presence there means that he beat Weyland-Yutani to the scene.
Right.
And the cover-up was for them, not all of you.
Oh.
He wanted Weyland-Yutani to think this was a dead end. And if you remember all correctly, after the events of what happened at the end of season 1, you're all flagged by a Wayland-Yutani files that drug you into the events of last season.
Right.
What problems does this cause, or what problems might this cause? It means that Bishop has been watching all of you and using your trail to get what he wants.
Yeah. We are pawns to him.
Hey, buddy. We didn't have time to discuss this, but there was a wanted poster flashed all over the place in that last station, and it had, well, not your face on it, right? But it had a David face on it. It did say your name, so someone knows that you're a David model. And at the bottom of this wanted poster, it said, "Please bring directly to Mr. Michael Bishop." So he might have been on that last space station.
I met Bishop. Sometime back, actually, I met Bishop. I thought that he was a synth. I was led to believe that he was a synth. The Bishop model was something that was, well, sort of public knowledge, specifically to synthetics.
Didn't you say something about how he had designed things before, though?
Yeah, he designed synths. He was like one of the fathers of synthetics.
He was
and
the first designer outside of Wayland-Yutani. Wayland himself, of course, designed the David unit, but you would know that that Bishop was the first person outside of Wayland-Yutani to design a synth, and the Bishop model is considered
Military model.
The military perfected
Yep.
synth.
Yeah, he
Bishop
sold
models
a-
are still used.
he sold the designs to United Americas, and I thought that he just named the model after himself, but
He did, technically. He designed it after himself, too.
if that's that could be what he looks like.
Why would he be looking? He's going after all this stuff with this alien thing, the space beast. And I guess we know that the Davids, and even I guess you at some point, Kitchens, when you weren't yourself, were trying to do something with these. He's not trying to do the same thing, right? What?
Well, I think he might be.
Really? Then
I think you're right. I think he might be as well. Consider this. When we first met, we were picking up that cargo. Bishop was there, which is where you met him originally, which only says to me a couple of things. Oh, hold on. My break. Keep talking. I'm just putting together pieces, because now we also have this bag that I'm sure Bishop would want as well, because it has information regarding the information that he was looking for back on the Fiornia.
Oh,
boy.
Ren,
Oh boy.
thinking about that, maybe, knowing how long it takes to travel across space, he was probably already there when Kitchens arrived, which means he was already planning at being at that space station. Wonder if he was the one who was actually supposed to pick up the bag that you stole.
Yeah, that is exactly what Meta was going through in her head, but Bryn is slowly getting to that point. Oh, this is much worse than I thought it was going to be. I think I need to reach out to Enzo to do a little bit of digging on the down low for us. And we need to get to Ace sooner than later. I think she's in probably danger.
Bishop works for the United Americas. And he was
I think the United work is for them, for him.
It's more like a partnership.
Yeah.
was contracted, paid, and allowed to create vetted military model synthetics. Superior performers.
Hyperdyne Systems. So Hyperdyne Systems was the second company ever to create an AI model. They are not Wayland-Yutani. And Hyperdyne Systems, it's like they're not military, but they're the science arm that works for the military. So they work with the United States Colonial Marine Corps. And the David unit, for a variety of reasons, even after they corrected David and turned him into Walter.
He's attempting
was
to perfect
flawed.
and create a greater model. He wants to make
More-
something stronger.
And because of the way Kitchens you think, Wayland Yutani created his own image of what a perfect being is. The David model. Bishop designed it off a human. He believed that he was perfect and that he was the model that they should be based off of. They look like him, they think like him, they talk like him. His model was the first AI not only outside of Wayland to be designed, but the first model to be designed off of a human.
He and I are not so different. I think he might be trying to blur the line between synthetic and human.
I'm
Whereas
mad scientist, I swear. Ugh,
David
Barton,
is-
can't you have like a conference with all these nut jobs and tell them to stop it?
No, that's the secret is you can't ever get too many of us in one place. It'll probably blow up. But also, we could all be arrested, and that's a different story for another time. I don't want you don't have to worry about
well,
that.
hey, actually, maybe you should. I mean, we get all the people we need in one place, and they're all arrested. But by who? Themselves? No, probably not. So
What sort of breakthroughs have we observed? Genetic breakthroughs have we witnessed?
In what time frame do you mean?
Historically, up to date, what can we do with the genetics? Are we able to magnify human capability?
Publicly?
Never publicly.
Okay.
Militarily
Public-
speaking.
Publicly, the general public knows that advances have been made in medicine, and advances have been made in from a biological standard where we can make people well. So burns can go away. We publicly, thanks to Wayland Yutani, have the medical pods, right, that can do things like painless surgery or advanced C-sections. They can help heal the body. We can put bodies in cryostasis. Kitchens, this is a tricky one. I'm gonna have you roll for this. I'm gonna have you roll a medical aid. Because
Okay.
you're talking about advanced genetics that would be done behind closed doors.
Sure.
On that note, as he's doing that, if he says anything about it out loud, would there be anything, given the history that Rin has working on a lot of covert operations before, maybe not knowing the details, but maybe like a file name or, you know, something that if it were said out loud, she might be like, hey, wait a minute.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Let me get his roll first.
Yeah, for sure.
You said
Let's
medical
see
aid?
what he says. Yeah, so let's get your medical aid for Kitchens. Because that might actually be true.
On its way. Or at least trying to.
Okay.
I got one, thank God.
You are a synth. So, and you are a Wayland
Whoa.
Yutani model.
Oh.
Surprise. Now,
Yeah.
even though your memory banks have been somewhat wiped or destroyed, there are just certain things that don't go away. You've also spent a lot of time doing a lot of research and digging into a lot of things that you're really not supposed to have your clammy hands on. So, with a single success, you know Wayland Yutani has a lot of private funding focused on cloning right now.
Yes.
You know that for whatever reason, the Colonial Marines, if Bishop is involved, now also have some kind of interest in at least the Space Beast. And if there's a shared interest, there's got to be some kind of genetic thing happening there. This can also be clued in because of what you've learned from Shakespeare, that he was also doing some kind of genetic testing. It has been rumored that inside of Wayland Yutani, that the human population is dying. Off. Naturally. The entire reason we started space exploration to begin with was to try to stop this because it was happening on Earth. But the fact of the matter is, we've not established ourselves outside of a few space stations in a way that will allow for growth. There have been many expeditions over the years, most of them failed, to start new true colonies of massive thousands of people on planets. And you would know that Wayland Yutani, if they are going to monopolize, as they do in literally everything, to monopolize on people would mean that if we're losing them, they have to find a way to make them.
Correct. You think that you would be so smart that you wouldn't have to figure out how to make the next edition, the more super version, that you would just figure out how to code out aging. But I don't think that's his directive. I don't think that's what he's trying to do.
If we go back and you think all the way back to the first time that you met Bishop
On
and the
Fiornia.
on Fiornia 161, when you first got there to make a pickup, and you all know now what you were picking up.
Yeah.
There is a high... He told you that there was an outbreak, and they shut this place down, and they were there for cleaning and for research. If it was, in fact, what was it, cholera? What did they have? I can't remember.
Cholera.
The outbreak.
It was cholera breakout.
A cholera outbreak. You saw people in biohazard suits taking samples as you think back. So they were there attempting to get DNA of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Well, this doesn't bode well. None of this information bodes well. Long story short, we may have been played. We're
Well, that is certain. Absolutely.
certified patsies.
Also true. That is, that's part of the normal playbook of Wayland. Well, for all of them, really.
What
So
you might note, though, after viewing this film, is that Shakespeare was vacated from the premise with one of his maidens.
Right.
Maidens.
That's a really nice way to put it there.
Yeah.
Shakespeare and his maidens. I love this.
Concubines?
No. Let's stick with maidens. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. That's very respectable approach.
Now, to answer your question, Meta, well, Rin's question, as you're kind of thinking through this, maybe Kitchens thinks out loud, or you think back to the information that you were given from Ace at the beginning of this season. She told you that there were these colonies, or these space stations, that had just kind of disappeared. And knowing that there were also colony ships that have disappeared, and the Covenant was one of them, I'm going to let you make a flat wits check.
Okay.
To see if you some pieces connect regarding that.
Fair enough. Negative.
The Covenant pings because that's a name that you've heard before, and you know because you were on a physical piece of it. So you know that there was this colony ship that was lost. And something about the Covenant continues to just kind of ping in your mind. What it is, you haven't quite made a connection, but there's something there.
Okay.
That is I look at Kitchens. Okay, so I'm still not. So what you're saying is that we were duped by the United Americas, by that one guy who wanted us to go find his daughter?
I think that was valid. I think he was duped by somebody else.
Oh.
Correct.
Which got his daughter in the situation in the first place. And then way back, I was duped because they, I imagine, did not expect any of our crew to survive. But then the whole ice thing happened, and well, here we are.
It sounds like the Americas, from what I'm getting here, Bishop wants to make an even better android, right? And Wayland Yutani,
they're playing each other.
Yeah, it just feels like we're in the middle of
Hey guys, I have a crazy idea.
What?
Okay, so Kitch, we know about you, right? We know about your egg situation. We know that the Davids were trying to do some David fuckery. We know that Bishop and Wayland Yutani are all trying to do something, right? We think it might be about synths, we might be about aliens, we don't know. But we do know when we went to go to your junkyard guy, dog, man, the fat meat guy, he was expecting Weyland-Yutani, right?
Or maybe he wasn't.
But he said he was expecting Weyland-Yutani.
That's the whole thing that Bishop does. He uses
listen,
Wayland.
hold on. Listen, I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm saying.
okay.
So if
Okay.
Weyland-Yutani wanted that thing, right? And this Bishop guy wanted that thing, and Vince's girlfriend wants that thing. Why don't we plug that fucker in and see what's on it?
Yeah.
No, I agree. All I want to point out, and maybe with all of our deduction together, Bishop doesn't give a shit about the Space Beast. I'm just going to put that out there. As far as like what he wants, I think if we're following everything that's been going on, he cares more about humanity and what humans are going to do versus what Wayland, which is Wayland's been all about the damn beasts and the aliens and the, you know, all that. I'm sure it has a crossover, but to me, it seems like the motivations are different. They're just treading along the same path.
I feel like Bishop is looking for someone to enable.
With what though?
Whatever he hopes to accomplish. That's why he plays all parts.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's definitely trying to outsmart Wayland, that's for sure. But they've been trading punches for what now, 20 years?
Yeah.
But they keep going.
At least, probably
going back to
longer.
him. When you have a brilliant mind like that, how quick do you think you are to punish that mind?
Well,
this does also beg the question of like, if you're saying that actually wasn't Shakespeare that did that, where is he now? Like, if his maiden carried him away, you know what I mean? Where do you think he might have gone?
I think that we can track him. I believe that we can track him. I was able to resource back and find whatever note it's saying to its vessel, to home in on it and find it, to retrieve.
Okay.
Well, let's pop in this black box then. Well, let's see what's going on here. How about that?
Yeah.
All
Plug her in. Put her on the. We'll figure out. It records everything, right? That's what the mother box does.
Black box. Yeah.
Yeah,
Black
but
box.
it's mother's box.
You plug it in. I'm gonna try something I've not done here before. We're gonna see if this works. Oh, you have enable my screen sharing mic because I have to share sound.
Ooh.
So you go through. There are a few recordings left on this. There are a few recordings left on the box, including a final one, and some data. Where would you like to begin?
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Great. So the first thing that you see is that the logs show that the Nostramos makes an uncharted stop. There is issues aboard the ship. There is data that one of their members is ill, and then data kind of stops being sent. Mother makes a report in to the vessel after the captain's death to the remaining chief of command, which would have been Ellen Ripley, that they are supposed to bring back what they find, basically any means necessary, that there is no rescue for them, even though they put out a rescue signal or beacon. The last thing that is on here is a recording, the last captain's log, I guess you could say. I'm gonna try this. We're gonna see if this works. Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Added report. Personal message. This is for my daughter. Hi, Amanda. I'm recording this for you, my sweetheart, and I hope you get to hear it one day. You see, I got into trouble. My ship, there was an accident, sweetheart, and we found an alien creature. It was very dangerous, and the only way we could stop it was to destroy the ship. I'm okay. I'm stuck on this lifeboat, long way out. But we had to destroy the ship. We had to destroy the Nostromo. We just couldn't risk bringing that thing home with us. I needed to protect you. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. I'm sure I'll see you very soon. I love you, sweetheart.
And the line goes dead. What you do all know about the Nostromo is very little, but that the single survivor, Ellen Ripley, was found 50 years later, and that she was sent out on another mission with Colonial Marines as a chief investigator or lead investigator for their team later on. And that it was her that died in the ship crash on Fiornia 161, exactly 1 year after her daughter died, at the ripe age of 66.
Well, that means this goes way back, right?
Well, then that goes back into this whole thing that Amanda has been looking into this for a long time too. Then, I mean, there's cassette recordings here. I haven't even listened to them. Records of all kinds, journal, all sorts of things.
And the items kind of get laid out. You can see a few cassettes that are numbered. You all see a patch. You see a journal, heavily used, abused, and collected. Sorry, my phone. And you see, and then the black box itself.
Hey, Kitchens. We have Wayland Yutani doing whatever they're doing, and Bishop and the United Americas doing whatever they're doing. It sounds like everyone wants these alien space beasts to move forward whatever agenda they have. If you got that embryo thing you were talking about, if you got it back, could you do some science maybe with Barden and find a way to destroy them? Because it feels like that's where we fit in. You know what I mean? In a, I guess, system where these two big corporations are trying to kill everyone in two different ways, but with the same conclusion, Maybe we could step in and, I
I am technically the world's foremost xenobiologist, so I think we could figure something out.
He is, really. He was my professor once.
I have some thoughts. I have some things that I would love to be able to try. My fear is the cost.
You mean like resources cost or morally cost?
Or people.
The latter.
Okay.
It would take time for certain to financially bring this to be. But inevitably, what I've discovered from studying them, from the information that I've taken on, these aren't creatures that function at human capacity. They have a directive. They have a job. The embryo that I harbored was a queen. It was a creator. It made eggs. You would need a harvester. You would need a soldier, one to protect. Think early baseline colony building. Everyone performed
like
a
a
role.
beehive.
Yeah, exactly like bees.
Or like ants.
Exactly, like a bee or like an ant, correct.
Yeah.
But think superior, hyper-lethal versions that are roughly human-sized. And the queen, no idea how large it actually is. But I do not think as superior as it is maintaining the same size as us.
And the gestation period is concerningly fast.
My thought is this, and it is a moral ground that it puts me in a bit of a conundrum. I think with what I know and what I can learn based off of our library, that I may be able to genetically manipulate. I'm going to need help, but we would have to seed. We would have to emanate. The emanation would yield the loss of some life, but its directive would be to create a cancer that moves through the hive to wipe out a colony.
Well, the only way to test that would be to actually let them create a colony.
Well,
We've seen that firsthand.
technically there is a colony on the ice
Yeah,
planet.
ice planet.
And I have no doubt in my mind that there is a colony on the what's the space vessel that we were on with the kids?
The station?
The station, yeah.
I don't remember the name. And actually, that is true. I know that when we ended the last season, there was sort of a post-credit scene where another David unit walked through and
I didn't see it,
emanated.
but somebody else did.
I'm not sure if any of us did actually.
Yeah, y'all
So I
passed
was
through
wondering-
a transport station.
Yeah, it was like as we were leaving, the camera then showed a David unit and then the chaos.
I could have sworn that Vince is the only one that saw that.
Maybe
I think
was.
someone, I'm pretty sure at least one of us saw it.
I don't remember.
I'm
Yeah,
like
it was- I think it was
99%. Yeah, I'm 99%
Okay.
sure Vince saw it. He didn't like say anything because he didn't know what to make of it.
Because Vince,
Got it.
it was like you saw another Kitchens, but it wasn't
Yeah.
Kitchens.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I was going to say too, I think with knowing that then Vince would have been a little paranoid and would have over these past couple of years looked into what has happened to that station. And didn't we hear that it like dropped off of the face of the earth or the face of the galaxy?
If you did some research, that one did not drop off. That one is still a functioning.
It like
Remember,
lists
it's
as
a
active.
transport station. Yeah, it's just passing through. So he may have been much like Kitchens was catching a ride with an
Okay.
There seems to be a pattern arising that part of the emanation plan was were direct with the Covenant, and that some of the David units were sent out to hitch a ride.
And we already have the
Take a
locations
prey.
of those. But what are the odds that we could I mean, there's got to be like a news platform, right? There has to be a digital newspaper that gives us information that we could find space stations that have undergone breakout, right? Like a cholera breakout
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
Exactly.
Somebody can run a Comtext test to like set an algorithm for Geppetto to run over the last few years to see if we
Wouldn't-
can learn anything.
Wouldn't that have been something that was on the radar for the rebellion though? Like suspicious activities that like, you know what I mean? Cover ups, those types of things.
We probably didn't ping it to test for cholera. We were probably looking for something more suspicious as opposed to like
Yeah.
an ancient
I
breakout.
will say this. She did do some pinging. She pulled 4 stations or 4 locations
Right.
That's right. That's right.
went
That's right.
dark. That is what
Right.
she gave you. So that's what her
Mhm.
research
Okay.
prevailed for you. Where she got that information, you don't know.
Was there a
Yeah.
correlation between those 4 locations and where the David units were sent that I have?
Seems like
In
a
the
good
black
time
box.
to cross data some information. I imagine we see
Cross-reference.
Kitchens like pulling data
Mhm.
and written stuff from the remains of what you found at David's site, right? What was left. You pull this stuff, you start trying to cross-reference. So here's what I'm going to get. I am going to get a wits check for cross-referencing and a Comtech check if anybody wants to run the algorithm.
I've got 10 for Comtech.
You got me by
Take
1.
it. Yeah.
Now remember, I can't push.
You'll be fine.
I got
Okay,
1.
a single success. It's going to take a bit. You can see that that's not an easy thing. You're talking about hundreds of years worth of data files that Geppetto's going to have to run through off the grid.
Oh.
News starts flashing because she's running news articles. The first one up is the most recent news. Forward to back. Maybe it's muted, but you can see the video playing. You see Desta's face pop up. A report of a local station of a madman who ran amok. He killed the owner of a meat stand. So it says. A man who was doing dirty business. Some kind of business deal gone wrong. He was gunned down by the Colonial Marines who proudly protect the people of open space. His accomplices are wanted. Any information will be paid with a reward. A very large one. And she scrubs through to the next news, running it, looking for the algorithm. I'll use a corruption bar. Only the people on board this vessel know the truth of what happened on that space station. Destus File currently says criminal, deceased, killed by Colonial Marines in an effort to protect the population.
I have a lot fewer issues with the moral ambiguities of genetic working now.
I'm sorry, Kitchens.
Thank you.
Yeah, our condolences. It's I know it's basically like second father to you.
Well, cross-reference.
Cross-referencing begins on hard paper. I need a wits check. Flat.
I'm willing to give it a try, but someone else would probably be better, like Kitchens. Or
I have a 5 in wits. I'll give it.
It's already higher than me.
Let's see here. 1 success.
Nice.
Okay. This is probably a little bit, with only a single success, this is a little bit of a montage as we watch the four of you try to work together, to piece stuff together. Amanda Ripley's journal is opened. You can see that she signs everything Amy. Amy McLaren is the name that she went by. And she talks about it in her journal, to avoid being watched by Weyland-Yutani, which she was for many, many years. She tells stories of a large colony that her, a friend, and an AI unit known as Davis 1 cleared using the help of Colonial Marines who abandoned their duties and started their own side mission. She lists some of the names of people that are with her. Many years of research running about. But it is not until later in her life that she seems to be less obsessed with killing them and more obsessed about where they began. Where did they come from? There are a series of strange pages. It seems to be more... Barden, I would say with your wits, you note that these pages seem particularly strange. They are written more like data, information. Very straightforward, less personal. But they're encoded. Some kind of code that she herself has put over this information so that not anybody can read it. You can see a few sketches of what we now know as facehuggers, the growth of the embryo. You can see that she's tried to make a couple things, but there's a pattern that keeps appearing on her notes, a physical drawing, of 5 dots. She mentions it appearing in multiple places through her research is kind of what you get out of it until you can decode. But Barden, you have spent 2 years watching porn and anime and doing nothing else but going over Shakespeare and David's notes. You've seen these 5 dots before. Way back in the depths of David's notes. Way, way back. You have to dig for a minute. Vigorously, no doubt, to find exactly what you're looking for. Papers that you and Kitchens have not touched in years because they didn't seem to deliver anything to you. But you find it. A personal entry by David himself. From what you can tell, written after he takes the Covenant, but talking about his first mission. An obsession of his creator, as he calls Wayland. A journey across the stars to find his maker. The origins, the genesis of humans. There's no talk of God or religion, but that Wayland Yutani found what he was looking for. And what David learned from that is that humans are weak and that their time has passed. And you see it, the same 5 dots appear in his notes here or there. And he mentions a woman he keeps calling Mother. Not Adam and Eve, like the two that seeded the emanation on the Covenant. No, this was the first. He says he cared very deeply for her, even until the moment he cut her open and used her to breed the first of what he called his eggs. He talks about a time called the Lost Years. 12 years. There's some questions there. But with your wits check, you are able to match notes from Amanda Ripley's distant past and David's first journey.
I think I got something here. It doesn't really help us, really one way or the other. It just adds like a third or fourth layer to this fucking cake. But here, I'm just gonna put it all out there. You guys can make a mess of whatever you think it is. But in reading this, I think I might have an idea that is absolutely batshit insane, but also 92% viable. You had a concern, Kitch, about the cost of human life with your experiments, given the gestational habits of these creatures, these beasts, these aliens.
Yes.
What if you had hundreds of people who were technically dead, but weren't actually dead? We could go back, find other pieces, perhaps, of the Covenant, seeing as how you didn't let me explode it in space. There's hundreds of bodies there that are all technically, on paper, dead. Their families have been paid out. No one's looking for them. And since most of the ship is in chunks, it will be pretty easy to isolate airlocks and leave it so that you're the only person in the room, since you don't need to breathe. And we could, in theory, kill off any gestating human life.
Or what if we were to use it? If they're already incubating?
Well, that's the problem, is bingo. We don't know how many. It's like a who's who. We don't know who's gestating.
I don't think that it is all of them. I think that it is quite a few less than there are there. How many would you say there are on the vessel?
Hold on. He shifts a few papers around. I think there was 228 or something like that. Here, I wrote it down. It wasn't all of them. There was more.
There was only a few hundred people, I believe, that were left on his portion of the vessel, along with his lab that he clearly used as his home base. for the emanation project, but the rest of the vessel was missing.
It wouldn't make sense to incubate all of them. You would only need 1, 2 max, just to make sure that the gestation came to completion. From there, it would be willing subjects or unwilling in the case that they couldn't defend themselves.
Kitchens, you would know that, at least on your research, the creature requires a living, right? That the thing that pops out of the egg that you have found, not the spores, but the egg, requires a living
Host.
Which means if he had put it in all of them, there would be nothing for them to grow from. Yeah, to continue
Correct.
from. So it only makes sense that he might, emanate a couple people and drop them here or there. Probably why he only sent out 12 David models, to pick a single person going to a very populated place.
Do you at all show Kitchens the series of dots that you found?
Yeah, he has it all spread across the table.
It's just kind of like correlating across, like these are still here.
Mhm.
In medicine, there are markers that are a way to indicate when something is like a designer or it's been made by a certain person or peoples. Would this be something that Kitchens might recognize as like a marker?
You kind of think about it, and you try to match it to something medically based. It doesn't seem like a DNA strand. It doesn't seem like a chemical bond designation of any kind. You're welcome to make another wits check if you'd like. I'm not going to make you make the medical because you've never seen anything like this. It doesn't quite match up to like atoms and neutron or.
Can I stem the dots?
What do you mean by stem them?
Can I build like a staff on the dots? If they're in, it's a horizontal pattern, right?
I can pull a picture of the dots. Okay, hang on. Let me find a picture, and then I will link you all to it. The dots look like.
Are they little and red?
There's 6 dots. They are not, but they could be.
Okay.
There are 6 dots. I apologize. I fibbed. There are 6, not 5. I'm going to say, I don't want to give you this, but I'm going to because this is just the way it is. Chat, I will post this to the Discord for all of us. So if y'all don't have it open, that's where I'm going to post it because that's the quickest way for me to. They don't seem to connect in terms of like something biological. They almost seem random, except they keep being used.
It's a pattern.
It's a pattern over and over.
I want to look at this across 2 ways here. 2 ways. My thought is, if it is arranged in, you said it's in the Discord.
It is in the Discord. What the 5 dots look like.
Okay. Let me find this.
I put it in Zoom chat.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that might change things. 2 ways. I want to draw, like, kind of copy this over in pattern, and I want to draw stems or staffs from these to see if it might correlate to notes, music notes.
To music. Yeah, you draw some staves. It does. Dots on a staff as you draw it across. You play maybe you play it or you have the computer run the algorithm to play what the 6 dots make as music. It doesn't seem to match anything. It doesn't seem to make sense musically speaking, music theory wise, right? That one would have needed to have been flat to fit into the chord, or this one doesn't seem right. It doesn't, from what you can tell, correlate to music.
Okay. I'd still like to memorize that just for future purposes. And
yeah, absolutely.
Then I'm going to see Geppetto, are there any, since this is already mapped on the computer and it's running an algorithm to play out note, are there any existing constellation maps or star patterns that match this?
Running algorithm. You can kind of hear the computer begin to loop. It starts that process again as it begins to run through the stuff. And sure enough, it does ping to a constellation. But a few things pop up. Some, because of the access that you have to forbidden files, many things pop up with this pattern from ancient history of humans across various races, across various times in history where people shouldn't know one another. You see it on a cave drawing and then a strange tablet. Every time the humanoid figure is pointing towards the sky, to the stars, it does seem to be a constellation.
Geppetto, how long would it take to map and course us to this constellation?
I can actually tell you that. Let me see if I can find it.
Where does this, and it's on the table that this is associated with David's quest for some sort of like creator of humanity.
I think it's a progenitor.
Yeah.
It would just make the most sense for what he was. And what we've come to know of well, what I've come to discover of how and whom Wayland actually is.
Jeez.
Okay, for the non-scientists in the room, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, Rin, I'm assuming at some point you came to know well your mother and your father.
No. No, I
You
did
had
not.
a mentor or a figure that acted as such.
I had an adversary. Does that count?
I think it does.
Okay, sure.
You have a guideline of sorts, someone that drives you. And
Yes,
sometimes
okay.
you look for the baseline as to what might encourage that further study. Oftentimes I've discovered, particularly in anime, they lean upon the parental guidance that is offered to them before inevitably their parents are stricken from them and they must go on this adventure. It's the hero's quest of sorts.
Yep. I lived
Okay.
that.
Okay, Hero's Quest, got it. Okay, what does it have to do with the dots?
Well, I believe that the dots is not just a picture. I believe it's a location.
In the stars, so like a
And there's a
space
very good
system.
chance that our progenitor, well, your progenitor, can be found there, or something relating to whatever it might be.
Okay.
Edo comes back. It seems it is correct. It is matching a star system, roughly a week's journey from here.
A week.
To a system known as LV-223. This is considered an off-limits moon. No one is allowed on site.
Was there
According to who?
information about it?
LV-223 is located in the Zeta Reculi system. It is a moon possessed inside of a larger system. It is believed to have both mountains, deserts, and valleys. The atmosphere is composed of 71% nitrogen, 24% oxygen, and 3.7% carbon dioxide, with traces of argon and other gases. It is not stable for humans to breathe. Oh, I'm so sorry. The air is nearly identical to Earth's atmosphere, but
It's a
contains a
stable
much
atmosphere.
higher concentration of carbon dioxide.
It wouldn't take much with a small breathing apparatus. You should be able to breathe fine.
Roughly 2 minutes without a suit.
Huh.
Currently, there are no signs of life.
When you say it's off limits, according to who?
Let me check my star map and see whose territory that falls in. LV-223 is located here, everybody. I'll ping it on the map. This is the Zeta Reculi system. It is in the southern area.
Mm-hmm.
That falls within the territory of the United Americas.
Mm-hmm.
Want to ping that again, Dot?
Okay.
It just also happens to be, near the last site of the Sevastopol station.
Of course.
Also currently quarantined and off limits in classified files. The Sevastopol station no longer exists on any public files.
Well, the way that I see it, we have 3 objectives that we can accomplish, but we will not be able to do all of them, at least right away. This star map is a week away. We still have no idea where Shakespeare may currently reside if he exists any longer. Additionally, with some assistance, Barden, I would need your expertise and your assistance with creating a type of cancer or a bacteria that might be able to infect our beloved space beasts.
Technically, you do have a little bit of DNA. Remember, you did recover some things from under the bed, so
Yes.
the embryo is, we would say, maybe the purest form. This is Shakespeare's attempt at collecting what he could find over the years and trying to use that. But Barden could do some work to see if he couldn't figure something out.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Hold on, wait a minute. So the gears are starting to turn. There's a clicking, it's a TikTok warehouse up there. Hold on. And he like goes over to like the computer and like starts like typing in things. And like he pulls up the star map and like click, zooms in, click. He's typing in like the coordinates from the paperwork and from what Geppetto spit back, click, typing things in. I know that place. That's Bishop. That's Bishop's shit. That's his shit. And he like zooms in.
On which spot?
On Zeta Reculi.
On that system? Okay.
I tried to get there. I tried to work on that. That's Bishop. He there's a colony. He had a colony. There was a colony. Right there. And he's pointing to like the second star.
Nearby.
Yeah. He had that. It's in fact, you know what? Hold on, wait a minute. Geppetto, overlay, you too slow. Hold on a second. And he clicks a few more things and he overlays a map of all the locations we have that are like lost. Because we have a listing of all the stations that are gone. Do any of them overlap?
Sevastopol. Sevastopol's literally right there next to it, gone.
Mhm.
That's one that is known to have disappeared.
And Acheron?
Acheron.
Yeah, he clicks in and zooms towards that, which what does Acheron pull up, if anything?
Ooh.
Questions
Yeah, good
and
questions.
answers.
It pulls up a few things. It pulls up basic stats, like when you click on it, it tells you all about the planet. It is formerly known as LV-426. One of the very first human colonies of success, Hadley's Hope, was located there. Another colony that simply disappeared from record.
Yeah, that's the one. Hold on. A few more keystrokes, and he's going to pull up whatever remaining information exists about Hadley's Hope.
Okay, that I will require a contact test for.
Sure. Let me see here. Do I have any bonuses for bullshit?
Not this time around.
One success.
There is a lot of redacted information about Hadley's Hope. What classified information you can read, that's not like blackbarred out, is that it was a Weyland-Yutani attempt to establish a mining colony. That sounds familiar. A mining colony on this moon, which is what it is, LV-426 or Acheron. It was co-financed by Weyland-Yutani and the Extrasolar Colonization Administration. And by the last known population was reported in 2179 as 158 colonists. about that time, most of the record goes dark. It was terraformed. It was a terraforming colony. To assure the operation and maintenance of a nearby atmosphere processing plant. You know, that much. Small medical facility, pretty standard. What would be considered like a manufactured colony, pre-manufactured, right? Modular structures, those kind of things. But yeah, you do see that the colony of Hadley's Hope that has been erased from record, marked as one of your locations, is also located in this system.
Yeah. It doesn't say it. It's in the black bars, but this is Bishop. He was a big guy on that one.
Okay.
So you got that one that's missing. You got the station. What is it? You said the Sevastopol was there. That's missing too, right? And now you got this with the 5 dots.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kitchens, you were talking about 3 objectives. It seems like there's something to do with, like you were saying, like our progenitor or whatever it was back there. I feel like some fishy stuff is probably happening there, but I don't know
where's the black box? Where's that from?
I think it's from the Sevastopol.
It was found on Sevastopol.
Oh,
That's
but
from
it's
the
the black
where
box of the Nostromo.
That is where, from the notes, you learn Amanda Ripley recovered her mother's black box from the Nostromo.
Right.
Geppetto, you're hooked into the black box. Can you overlay all the final flight manifests on this map?
Flight manifest for the Nostromo?
Yeah, on the black box, because I assume it would record travel logs.
Where it was.
The last travel destination, it set down unexpectedly on an uncharted planet known as LV 426. About 40 years before it becomes a station for Hadley's Hope.
See that's where all the cogs are working. And see, when I was saying that portals were real, that's what everyone laughed me out of the fucking room. But now, there's your nexus point, Kitch.
Where is my whiskey? I need whiskey now.
Can I have some too?
Yeah, you
Whiskey gets poured around as you all sip and begin to kind of look through this information.
Your David buddy, he's pointing the way over here. You got Bishop fucking around with moons and shit. You got the crazy dead lady on a missing ship, and then you got the 2 missing colonies right in one, both redacted. Nexus point.
Rin, what did you find?
What?
What did you discover? You came in excitedly so. You said you had discovered some things.
Well, we pretty much discussed it.
The black box.
I mean, in regards to the parts that we, recovered, upon Ace's request, might I add, this particular set of artifacts was at her request. We need to talk to her. Something is going on, and I'm worried
too
about what's going on back at that station.
Is I think there's a way. Part of why Ace wanted this is there's probably information in here. I mean, I'm almost certain there's information in here that the rebellion was going to use to basically like crucify Weyland-Yutani in a way. You know what I mean? There might be like incriminating stuff, and that's part of why they wanted it. And that's part of why Weyland-Yutani didn't want it coming out, because this directly, or I guess directly associates them with this space thing.
Well, only if you have all the other pieces,
Yeah.
which the whole point of the rebellion in general has been to feed information and start revealing these types of things to dismantle what power they have. But this is
A lot.
we need to talk to Ace, and I need to get some.
I agree.
I need a contact info.
Maybe we could do that while we're trying to figure out what to do.
Well, yeah, I
Start-
have no contributions to make to this.
You've got about a day's journey if you
Scientific.
want to head back to Station Alexandria.
Mhm.
You would have a week's journey if you want to travel through cryosleep to the system that seems to be a little infested, we'll say, with some history that seems to be pinging.
Would there be a way for us to talk to Ace without physically going there, or would that be difficult
you
given
would all
security
have-
issues?
You would have ways of contacting. Remember, y'all send out probes, right? So you would record a message and send the probe. And then the probe would be picked up by their people and delivered to her.
Vince says, I don't trust that with everything going on, that Bishop's not going to come down like the hungry hippo and just snatch it up. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want to leave this on the station.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a problem here. If you recall what Ace said back in the day was about not having all the information in one place and sort of disseminating
Correct.
it out, right? We currently have all of it right here.
Well, not all of it.
I mean, we have enough to find all this. We have parts of David. We got a functional David suitcase. No offense, Kitch. We got this whole thing. We got the black box. We got these maps. It's pretty damning evidence here, and I think not too far of a leap to say that Mr. Bishop, who was over on that colony that we just left, knows who Kitchens is. No one uses the code name Mess Hall. It's fucking random.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure I could venture to a conclusion inevitably, but maybe you could help me here. Why would Bishop kill Shakespeare or attempt to do so? What would he have to cover up? And how would that get back to Wayland-Yutani that Bishop was involved? Or get back to United Americas that Bishop was involved? Or even Hyperdyne that Bishop was involved? Because at this point, it feels like he's playing all parties.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. Seems like a smart man.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Kitch. I think that's the question.
The problem is that the one person that was aware of where the embryo was couldn't remember where the embryo was. And Shakespeare didn't say anything to anyone. So how could Bishop know that the embryo was with Shakespeare?
Unless he didn't. Maybe he was after him. I mean, Shakespeare was also,
My thought is he may have not known. Maybe he didn't know that he had it. What if Bishop's involved in the rebellion as well? What if he's playing the rebellion so that he can draw attention elsewhere?
I mean, I would not be surprised about this.
Why is he looking for you then?
Because I'm a David model.
Not forget, Shakespeare was completely incognito until all of you contacted him.
Yeah.
There is nothing to say that Bishop wasn't watching Wayland-Yutani's activities in an underwater mining colony, more aware of what they were actually searching for than all of you were. He was waiting for something to surface, to come up, and y'all sent out a distress signal. Shakespeare picked it up. Send a trash freighter. It was more about him thinking that Shakespeare had whatever was found. on that ice planet.
Yeah.
And he didn't find what he was looking for when him and his soldiers showed up. He kills Shakespeare, or at least makes it look that way, so that if Wayland Yutani shows up, they think it has gone cold. The trail.
Well, I think I'm going to quote some anime here, and I think it might be best in this particular dungeon we split the party. Cover a lot more ground that way, and I do believe that we must locate Shakespeare.
I mean, if anyone could do it, it would be Ace.
Kitchens, you have a little bit of information on the drop pod. You do have some ship stuff you could try to run really quick if you'd like, and try to see if you can ping who picked up his drop pod.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Contact check to run this identifier for the vessel that picked up the distress signal from their pod.
You got it. Oh.
No successes.
No successes.
Okay. I will tell you this. The system does not seem to pick anything up. But the string of identifier numbers, right, that is there that identifies literally the barcode of the ship is very specific. Ships are manufactured and numbered certain ways by their make and model. What kind of ship did Shakespeare call to rescue all of you?
The trash freighter.
It wasn't a trash freighter?
Yeah.
It's the one you're all standing on. So wouldn't he have maybe called a trash freighter to rescue him? The string of codes match what would be identified as a large-scale vessel. Either transport, not public transport, but like transportation of goods. Or large-scale freighter of some kind of trash freighter. Your good sense tells you that if he pinged a vessel, he seems to have his way with trash freighters. It's an easy way to hide things, and nobody searches them.
The odds. What? What are the odds? There is enough wibbly wobbly, timey wimey shit here, and we've only investigated. Like, we haven't gone through this place with a fine tooth comb. What are the odds that he did something to this particular vessel, and he's got like a pod or two that's just like tucked away in a wall?
Well, I guess that questions how much of this ship y'all have kind of redone it, cleared it out, all of the above. And remember, you would have had this trash freighter before he launched the pod. You would have all been on it. It rescued you. So it wouldn't have been this freighter, but there's nothing saying he couldn't call another trash freighter.
Okay.
Your best bet is to begin researching trash freighters.
Got it.
Sounds fun.
Maybe research for next time. The algorithm that you ran, the one that's been running in the background for a while, finally stops. An official report is what is pulled, not public news. That there is, in fact, a colony that has gone dark. Small. On the outskirts of the kind of outer veil. This place is located inside of what would be considered the frontier, so it's not heavily watched or settled. And it is months away from where you currently are. It's, let's see, it is located rimward, and is called the Davos Colony.
Davos call. Are we? This is out of character. Does that sound familiar at all? Because it's not ringing a bell to me.
No, it's just another colony,
Okay.
and it's a
Okay.
frontier colony. It really actually sits on the skirts between the frontier and the Three World Empire, which is basically the Anglo-Japanese arm of the future of humans. But yeah, it is on the map, but it is quite a ways away from you. It technically sits inside of sector 949. But no, the Davos colony doesn't ring a bell in any way to you. If that David model was at a transport station traveling somewhere, headed somewhere, it would have taken quite a while for them to get from point A to point B. There would have been cryosleep, the works. 2 years is plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Kitchens, how long has it been since Desta picked you up?
12 years?
So this David unit potentially has also been out there 12 years. Plotting for this place or the perfect moment. A little bit of a sleeper agent, potentially. But there does ping a recent kind of blacklist of a colony that's gone dark on the frontier. There has been no effort to look into it.
There's a lot to digest. There's a lot to digest.
There was a question, Meta, you had.
Yes. So Rin's mentioned it a few times that she's going to be sending something to Enzo. There's two things going on in her mind. One, they need to get with Ace, but in the meantime, Ren plans to send a message to Enzo on their encrypted, their version of communication, so as to, even if somebody else were to pick it up, they wouldn't understand, regardless of who her allies are. Asking him to look into covert operations in the sector where Shakespeare's base was during that period of time when he disappeared. Basically, something that wouldn't necessarily be in the rebellion's records as far as, mining for data, and maybe even something that's not even available that needs to be done on a more, quote, local inside job level. And seeing if Enzo can figure out who or where or what. And it doesn't need to be answered tonight.
You send out the message coded. You probably both use code names. You use code words. As we see you kind of send this message, do you send anything personal with it?
Yes, but I'm not going to reveal it at this time.
At the end, there is a pause for whatever you type or record out to him. A couple extra lines are put in at the end. We can't quite read it over Rin's shoulder. A more personal touch. Barden, do you try to break Amanda's code?
Oh, what a good question. I would love to. I don't think Barden does. He's not a code breaker. And he knows that there's Ace. And he's smart enough to know that if you encode something, you can make it so that it deletes if you fuck it up too many times. So he's not going to risk it. He's going to leave it to the actual data engineer that we have.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to give y'all, but here we are. I need to get rid of a corruption bar. So we only have 2. I've used 2 this episode. Sorry, I don't want to forget. And so maybe the crew is left contemplating, thinking. Messages are sent, plans are made, potentially a split of the party. But Kitchens, there's a piece of research. Maybe it pings in your mind. Maybe it's just because you're thinking about DNA and you remember one of the very first things you found on the Covenant before you extracted all the information and brought it here. Again, early files that maybe you forgot that were actually part of his emanation plan. part of
Right.
the larger. And it comes from some of the papers that were pulled by Barden about the stars. And you run back through to pull these DNA files. You remember matching DNA, which
Right.
is strange because none of the DNA that you've run on the space beast matches. It has forms of human DNA, but that makes sense since it literally gestates inside of a human body.
Correct.
But this DNA is matching. It is the same. At first, maybe you simply thought it was human DNA. But now you're questioning that. And at that final scene where we see Kitchens digging into this and thinking about these 6 stars, this system, it is David's original mission with his maker that keeps running through your head. Wayland Yutani wanted to meet his maker. David said that in his notes. What if Wayland Yutani found his maker? A secret mission, hundreds of years old, where David escorted him. He said he met him. What if Wayland Yutani found the maker of humans? What if that was the inspiration for David becoming his own maker? There's something about this system, this planet, LV-223, this one specific place, that could be a genesis point for everything that David has done. More importantly, the genesis point for humans. And as the camera fades out, all we see is a DNA strand, 2 of them, overlapping one another. As Kitchen sits there and contemplates his maker meeting his maker. And we'll return next week to see where the story goes and how the party will split to try to figure out this little puzzle and mystery.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, that's a fucking brain blast. That's it for this episode. Holy shit, that was lore-tastic. Let's go around, do our outros so we can get the hell out of here and do our after show. And if you guys want access to that after show and all the other after shows we do on this channel, go over to our Patreon. Link for that down below. Link for that in chat. And join us at the $5 tier. It's $5 to get all the after shows, all the behind-the-scenes exclusives for our thoughts on each episode. While you're down there, click on that Discord link. Join us in Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. But for now, let's start with Meta. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
I'm not finding the mute button, that's for sure.
Nailed it.
I'm here on Wednesday nights, and you can find me in the Discord.
Perfect.
Next.
Zach, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I am Zach. You can find me on this channel, of course, also on the Arvin Elrond channel. I also thought I'd mention that friend of the channel, Arvin Elrond, who also does our vocalists, Esper Genesis I've been a part of over there, is running a Kickstarter for his fantasy novel right now that also includes an adaptation of 5e with 5 new character classes. So if you wanted to play possibly 5 new character classes in D&D 5e, kind of set in his world, a fellow TTRPG streamer, check out the Kickstarter and consider supporting it. But otherwise, that's where you can find me, this channel, that channel, my own channel when I decide to stream. And that's it. Had a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Bub, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
Well, and my brain is not melting. because of all of the lore and the dumps and things. And I'm connecting a lot of pieces right now. So I'm here. I'm here on Wednesdays. I'm in places. It's just look for Bub Talks, formerly the Bub or Not. You'll see my mug in spaces doing things. So come find me. I tell stories, make voices loud, and that's what I do.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, Dot, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm Little Red Dot. You can find me where Little Red Dots are found online. I spend my time with Cobalt Press, mine and Bub's podcast network, Pod by Night. We're finishing up next week a pretty sweet little short run of a Hunter the Reckoning game, which was pretty cool. If you want to see Bub and I awkwardly flirt, boy howdy, have I got the show for you.
Oh, it's not awkward. It's totally natural.
It's so fucking awkward. Good luck. If you don't blush listening to it, you are not human. And then the rest of the time I'm out there getting ready to take a cruise with some pretty cool D&D people for D3 at Sea. If you want to come on a cruise with us in November, roll some dice, meet some really cool people from the industry and other folks just like you that want a game, on the top of a ship deck, which is dope, hit me up or go to www.d3atsea.com and you can fill out the registration form and learn everything that you need to know. That's it. That's what I got.
Perfect. That's it. That's all we got. So that's it from all of us. You guys, we'll see you next week for more Alien Madness. And we're going to get the hell out of here. Do this after show. You guys can get that again over on our Patreon. So that's it from all of us. You guys. Bye-bye.